Hello, students and engineers. This is Mr. Hulsey. I'm going to show you how to do drawings in Inventor and presentations in Inventor. These are the last two file types that we haven't yet explored. So let's start by downloading this zip folder of a project. This is a really nice way to set up and start a project that that somebody else has created. You zip up the whole thing and then share it with each other. So you see, I already downloaded one, but if you do that, and if it goes into your downloads folder automatically, just go and put it in your Inventor projects folder in your H drive. So once you've got it, let's go ahead and rename this to your first, middle, last initials. I'm going to change it to my first, middle, last initials. Then right click extract all and just go ahead and extract. I did it so that I wouldn't get a folder inside a folder. I set it up that way. So you see this project file. Let's also rename that project file to your first, middle, last initials. Then you can double click on the project file and it'll automatically open up Inventor Professional 2018. Hopefully you have the same version as me, as with that project as the active project. So that's really nice. Again, that way you don't have to create a new project and then import all the files if somebody else has got the whole project coming in for you. If you look on projects and ignore that, then you'll see this 4.8 MBH already set up for you. Reminder, this should be your H drive, not your C drive. So let's open. If you hit open, you can see all of these files that I've already got set up for you. Some of them are drawing files already, which is what we will be creating with a very simple part. But to do that, let's start by hitting new and then drawing. You see there are two different file types for drawings. There's a DWG, which is a little more transferable to other CAD softwares. And then there's IDW, which is the Inventor type. I kind of like that just to keep the naming convention standardized. But if I ever move between Inventor and another software, I'd probably want that DWG. So now that you've got this, the first thing I want you to do, of course, is Control S save, and let's call this T9 passenger base. And since we already have a .ipt, we could just leave it as that with our initials, and it'll show up as a .idw, like I said. So the first thing you want to do is save it. The next thing you want to do is change the sheet size, because we come up with, it comes up as default as these very, very big sheets, but we don't need those for these small pieces. So let's change this to an A size. You can see it's 8.5 by 11. Let's go ahead and name this sheet T9 passenger base, your first, middle, last initials, but don't name it FML, name it your first, middle, and last initials. So then you can see this title block is taking up most of the page here. Let's delete that title block and then import a new one from these drawing resources. You can just double click on ANSI A down here. Now it's a little bit more manageable. So then you can import your part file by hitting paste and then selecting this browse button. Let's go to our passenger base. This is the one we want. Now when it comes up, it shows up, you know, as a 1-to-1 scale according to our 8.5 by 11, and it shows up in the front. This is the view that we want, so we can label this view front, and then let's change the scale to a 2-to-1. Okay, and then all of our options go away if we hit enter. So to move it around and to edit the view itself, you just want to grab this edge or double click this edge here. If you want to change the scale, you can do that. If you want to take off the hidden lines, if you want to make shaded, do all that stuff, but I prefer it to be looking just like this. Next, we can do a projected view based on this base view. We can do the top, we can do the right, or we can do the isometric. I think it's unnecessary to do top and right, so let's just do the right here. Right click, create. Now it shows our hidden lines, which is actually what we want. That's all we need. Then we can do our dimensions. So there are a couple of ways to do dimensions. First, by clicking the two lines that you want to dimension to, here and here, and then do this over and over. It's not too much of a hassle, and it's pretty straightforward. I do want to dimension from here to the end here, but I'm not going to do all of these width lines because I'm going to give a general note later that'll show that this is identical to this. That'll be pretty handy. The other way you can do this is by using one of these dimension helpers. So this is a baseline style that we're creating here. We'll learn more about that later in class. But with this baseline style, with this baseline helper, you just click all of these height lines all the way up to here, and don't forget the overall. right click and continue, and there they all are. It's kind of nice, and it's kind of annoying when you want to do points. If you click, it places it, but don't hit cancel or escape, because you also have to right click and create before it'll stay. We need a couple more on top. I'd rather put these on top so it's not crowded on the bottom. And then we're done with that side. Next, I want to do a depth line here and a depth line here. I did not have that in my, excuse me, that's wrong. The depth line should be from here, and you can always zoom in to get a little closer, here to there. And I did not have that on my example. So if you're not watching this video, I'll probably explain in class that you need that one. Then we need some arcs. We need to dimension some arcs. It's pretty easy to do that. It's the same tool, dimension. Let's just click on this arc, but don't click on the center point on accident. Let's click on this arc, and you probably shouldn't cross over that dimension line with this leader line, so let's put it somewhere up this way. I want to specify that there are 4 of these, so I can double click on the dimension and go left with my arrow and then type in 4 here. And then all of this double angle bracket, that just means the dimension that will generate according to what the dimension number and value is. And so that 4x will show up before it generates that dimension. Okay, and then we also need this arc as well. That will be the same thing. Double click on it there and then do 4. And okay, sorry about all the noises. It's kind of mean. So then we have some overlap here because we didn't create enough space. All I want to do now is drag this out. And now we want to add some general text, some global notes, but we didn't leave very much room. It's okay, we can click and drag this base view, and you can see since they need to be lined up, it'll actually click and drag the right view as well. So we've got enough space for our text. And there are a couple of notes I want to make. I want to say 2:1 scale. I want to say all dimensions are in inches. And I want to say all 4 sockets are identical. That was the general note that I mentioned earlier. Now this is done. Let's Control S save. Yes, we want to save this dependence as well. And then I want you to give me actually, we're not done. Excuse me. We need to type in our name and the title. So let's go to the ANSI A title block and double click field text and right click this button here. Go to summary. Let's add that title. T9 passenger base FML. But again, make sure it's your initials here. Let's do your name there instead of your username. Okay, now it looks great. It's got the title, the drawing number, and your actual first and last name. So give me a screenshot of that, and that'll be good. Control S, save it again. Now we want to do a presentation file. So let's do new. Standard IPN is the only option. Create. As soon as it comes up, it'll ask you to insert an assembly. You can only do assemblies because the whole point of all this is to explode the assemblies out. So let's pick our T9 assembly. By the way, I have a sub assembly in here, but let's do the T9. Open, and as soon as that comes up, you see a couple of new windows in your user interface. One is the storyboards panel because we're creating a video, so you will be able to see the different events that happen in your storyboard. And then snapshots is when you can take a snapshot of an exploded view that you can then import into a drawing file. So I might have you do that for extra credit. So the main thing that we're going to do here is tweak our components, and that just means move them out from the assembly. So we can start by tweaking the wheel, and I like to zoom out a little bit. If you click on the wheel, then you see the duration of the tweak. It'll take 2.5 seconds. I like to make that a little bit shorter. I changed that to 0.5, and that will actually become the default for all of the tweaks to follow. So then you can just pull it out however far you want. I like to standardize mine so that way I know how far the others are going, so it looks all even. So let's do negative 7.5 inches away from the car, and then hit enter. Now you see that event showed up down here. This is the tire number 1. It showed up in our timeline. Let me move my face and zoom in here as the first event from 0 to half a second. Then let's tweak this. And again, that is 0.5 seconds. We can pull that out to -5. inches, and we can pull this out by tweaking that out to negative 2.5. So it's all kind of standard there. Now you can play this back, but I kind of like it if you move these tweaks to be all simultaneous. It looks cool. So then you can go ahead and do that with all of those tires as well, pull those out. And the general rule is you want your tweaks to leave your parts separated so much that there is no overlap. So keep doing that. I'm not going to continue with it in this video. I'm going to cut it short, but keep doing that. Tweak all your components. You can pull them up. You can pull them out. You can pull them in. You can pull them left and right, and you can actually rotate them as well. So keep messing around with this until everything is as you like it. Don't forget all of your components. Pull these out, and there's some connector pieces inside there. So once that's done, you can export, publish as a video. I want you to name this T9. T9, you can say exploded storyboard. Yes, storyboard. And your first, middle, last initials. Make sure it goes into your project folder. Let's do an Avi because it's a little smaller. Hey, that doesn't exist. It should exist. Or you don't have access, check the path and try again. Okay, maybe it's because we haven't saved. Save T9. Let's do T9 presentation FML. Save all the dependents. Okay, so you have to save the presentation. Sorry about that. Now let's do T9. Let's just call it presentation as well, FML. And it's getting mad at me again. So then if that happens, just try to do it in your desktop. Save. Okay, so it will publish and save to, and it says complete. It's a WMV, so change it to an Avi. One more thing that you might could do for extra credit is the capture camera. Capture camera just says that any new camera angle you choose, like let's say we want it to be over here, let's capture that camera angle, and I think that's this one here. It will move the camera angle when that event shows up. Okay, so you can move things around. You can zoom in, so that can make for a really nice presentation, especially if you put a voiceover explaining your stuff. That's about it. Just then make sure to upload your movie, this movie file. I think this is the right one, to your Google Drive, into a logical folder. Mine is IED. Unit 4, lesson 4.8. If you upload that here, wait for it to go, and then right click on it, say, let's see, share, and then advanced, and then make sure it's on public to the web, and then you can get this, this sharing link here, copy, and then put that in your Google Drive for this assignment. All right, if anyone out there is watching this video who's not my student, please let me know in the comments and I can share this folder with you. I think that'd be cool. So if you have any questions, you can leave a comment for that as well. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. Bye.